You're listening to the C1D Paintball podcast.
Hey, Andrew, C1D Paintball podcast. We had Giggling Mike joining us. Hey, Giggling Mike.
Hey there.
And smiling but not giggling. We also, and serious. Holy cow, it's Connor. Oh my God! Like if you're just listening to this on Spotify, you missed a glare.
Yeah.
Mean mugging.
Hey, you missed a death stare, guys. Sorry. How's it going?
It's going okay. So this is season 1. Are we going to be renewed? I haven't heard anything. Episode 9. This one's called Lancaster. I have strange names. I named the podcast, but this one, it's got to relate to the topic because was it yesterday? No, it was 2 days ago. 2 days ago, we went to Lancaster Paintball, and curiously enough, in Lancaster, Ontario, and a field that opened this year, and we're going to talk about it. We also went to Comic-Con. The 4 of the 6 people that went to play paintball went to Comic-Con. So, yeah. You can see my pajama bottoms, by the way, if you're watching the video of this, because the camera angle, it's we're breaking the fourth wall. I guess we're always breaking the fourth wall. Connor says this is what happens when you let him talk too much. All right, so it is a first-year field. It is apparently right across the street, so to speak, where General Splatters was in the same area for a few years. Apparently, some of the assets they have there they got from General Splatters. I'm not sure which ones, some of the buildings and stuff like that, maybe the tires. But for all of us there was me, Mike, Connor. We also had Miranda. And curiously, the other 2 people were also named Mike. We had Michael and Michelangelo. And you know what? It just dawned to me, guys, that we could have put them all on the same team. But we didn't. No, we didn't.
We can't. They'd be unstoppable. The Triple M.
Or is it like crossing the streams in Ghostbusters, the Mike Trio?
It could be disastrous. I don't know. It's like 3 completely different play styles, I feel like. So,
I agree. It is 3 different play styles, and call-outs would be pretty hard. Hey, Mike, he's over there. Which one? Yeah. And then you look over and you get shot in the side of the head. And...
Be harder on us. Hey, Connor, what? I see Mike. Which one?
That's why we got Michael, Mikey, and Mike. That's how we differentiate them. If you know, you know. If you don't know, then sucks to be you.
You better learn. Yeah.
Louie and Louie. We'll give them those. So we're going to keep it simple here in the sense of we played 9 games on the day, and there are 5 fields, and we played on 4 of them. Now, we're recording this on a Monday night. Tuesday morning, there's a little video up of the drone. My drone doesn't take very good footage, but I made the best of it. You'll get an idea of the fields there. And I mean, if we're going to be talking about a new field and people may be curious to go there and that, we're talking about the individual fields. That's the big draw there. And I guess I'll just mention there was a 5th field. It is a all natural field, so with grass in it. There was one like that we played where the grass was a lot higher and more playable. The 5th one we didn't play on. It's not because we didn't want to. We just kind of ran out of time. And but next time we'll go there. We'll see it. But it was kind of a lower grass. In case you're wondering why we didn't play on that one. So I will let Mike describe the main field, kind of the centerpiece field. When you go to their website and even on Facebook, you see it. And it's called Bunker Hill. So I'm just throwing Mike into the spotlight here. Give us a general description of the field so you can paint the perfect picture for those listening.
Well, I'll see what I can do. So when we first walked up, I wasn't sure what to expect. I mean, from the area getting ready, you see this big hill with this bunker on top, which is just like the main focus of what you see. I was like, man, that's really cool. So when we walked up there, I realized that was at the top of the hill of the entire map. So you're up at the bunker and you look down at the rest of the map. So I realized that it was definitely kind of an attack and defend type of map. But it's a pretty large open map. If you're standing up at the top of the hill, there's a little area behind the bunker as well. Um, climbing up. Standing up at the bunker, you can go left down through a trail, to get down to the main field, or there's a tree, which I think is a very cool part of the map, which helps the play style of defending and attacking the bunker. But at the bottom of the hill, as you're pushing up or going down, it's nice and open. Some trenches that run vertical and diagonal through the field to get you good cover. A few little L-shaped bunkers on the left side, camper in the back, which is the spawn for the attackers. It's nice and open. And like I said, there's a down tree on the attack side if you're running up the hill on the left side, which can be beneficial for both the attacking and the defending side. But I won't get too much into it. I mean, people can play it when they go, but overall, I think it was a really fun field with you could play a lot of cool game modes on it. And I think we played 3 and we swapped defenders, did some attack and defend the hill. And I think we played it out pretty well. We had to work with, and it was an awesome little field. Different than any other field I've ever played on, actually going up a hill or defending down a hill. So very, very cool play styles. Very cool overall map. Definitely their main focus there, I think.
Okay, Connor, your impressions of the field, maybe strategically how it's laid out, and I'll probably do a little summary of the 3 games we played on there.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with Mike. Right? Well, Daddy mentioned it's the centerpiece, and Mike mentioned that's where it feels like the epic one out of all the other ones. Not to say the other ones aren't as good. I like the other ones. Maybe one actually just as more as Bunker Hill. But Bunker Hill, it's definitely the most epic. There's plenty of different modes you can play around on it. For the bunker itself on the hill, I really liked how where it was on the hill, you could actually shoot over the bunker. If you're the defenders, you could use it as cover, but also bunker itself. I only played the one game defending, so I didn't actually look through the windows, but attacking it, I noticed with how the windows were like shaped is that they weren't too strong. That they are very small, the windows. But if you're actually in it shooting down, you can't see fully back because of how the windows are. So they're a strong spot, but they're fair. So you don't get shot from super far through the windows. You have to be pretty close for them to actually see you. To walk into that kill box, I guess. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, the attacking side, it's really thrilling. Running like little trench to trench, covering each other and stuff. Me and Michael were doing that. Maybe my only complaint about it, which I think can be easily fixed, and that's why I'm mentioning it, is it's. I think it is meant to be open. You're meant to have that teammate aspect, of covering each other, like I mentioned. But I think it's too difficult not having any cover at all. That's not above ground for the attackers. So maybe just like 3 pieces in the middle or something. So like one in the middle of the field and one on the middle left side and one on the middle right side to break it up. Because otherwise besides the spawn point, there's nothing that's waist high for you to hide behind. So it can be difficult to push up maybe if you're not as agile getting out of those trenches quick. Otherwise I loved it a lot. It was a lot of fun.
I forgot to mention, what's the owner's name of the field again, Connor?
Tyler.
Tyler, should have mentioned that from the beginning. He was there. He had a staff member with him whose name escapes me. His wife, I believe, was there as well. Very friendly, very eager. Everything we say, and if we do, we're not saying anything negative. Like that, what Connor said was good constructive criticism about maybe a couple of little things in the field. The field's been open for not even 4 months. So you take everything we say into the account with that. And yeah, Connor mentioned that. Yeah, it is got this open feel to it, and when you're attacking, you do feel like I'm gonna get wasted here. But what we did on the attack defend is I mentioned there was 6 of us, 2 defended, 4 attacked. So as you can imagine, if you're even if you've never seen a picture of it, if you have a bunker on the north side of the field, you start from the south. Logically, you'd have 2 guys go left, 2 guys go right on the bottom and attack from there. And because it was all our first time, we generally followed that rule. And Connor mentioned, yeah, the windows in the bunker are good, but they're not OP because there's little shutters in them that don't let you see all the way. And you get this false sense of security when you're up there defending that you can't get killed, but you can. And he mentioned a downed tree, Mike. There's this huge tree. It is huge, but it's still living. Part of it, just the way it grew, it's like it was too heavy and the branch went in. And it's a cool looking field. And to build on what Connor said, they could probably throw 2 or 3 little more obstacles in there and it would be even better. But it was a pretty good game. So we played the 3 games, so 4 against 2. Me and Michelangelo got to defend it at first. And so here's the thing. If you're in C1D or you played with us or watched any of the videos, if I'm telling you that Mike and Miranda are going to partner up on one side and Connor and Michael are going to partner up on the other, and I was to tell you one of those two groups would charge up. I mean, the Vegas odds would just be overwhelming for Connor and Michael. So I'm lined up on the right side and I look out and I see to the left, I see, oh, good, Michael and Connor, but they're at the trenches. And it's like, okay, that's good. They're not rushing up. Okay. And the next thing I know, Mike's shooting at me from like 20 feet away. Him and Miranda ran up. And yeah, I got hit. I get a little reverb from somebody. Did somebody change their speakers a bit? No? Maybe it's just
I'm trying not to say anything. I'm trying to sort it out here. I don't know what's going on, but I'm getting.
That's okay. I don't hear it anymore. I don't hear it anymore.
Time.
So yeah, defending on it the first time was interesting, and then I got to attack a couple of times. Mike and Miranda put up a very good fight. Miranda got me just above the sore knee. The knee isn't sore now. The part above the knee where Miranda hit me is still sore, and and the third game, Connor and Michael both went off the hill and they went to the foot of the thing. Of course, they're going to throw a curveball. It was kind of cool with that. And defenders lost every game, but that's okay because I think we gave 2 lives to the attackers because we're just feeling our way through it. But I think with that one, when we have, and we will have a game day, where we'll invite the C1D crew and anybody that wants to join us to go out there, is we'll probably have to figure out a way to play it with a bunch of guys and have some fun on it for sure. But it is the centerpiece. They can add stuff to it, but honestly, the way it is right now, very good. And one thing I was worried about is it rained the night before we were there. And when you're saying trenches and you don't have like a pump system to pump the water out, which is a money pit in a pit. Anyway, the trenches were actually pretty good. They looked worse than they were. They looked muddy, but Connor, you went in them. They were pretty firm and offered pretty good cover. I think I was the only one that got long balled attacking. Like I must have been like, I don't know, a couple 100 feet away from it, and I got one right off the top of the head. Thanks, Connor.
Welcome. Yeah, I sent a few your way.
You sent it.
But I'm glad you got one of them at least.
Well, you're anytime, kid. Anytime, you know. Now the next field we're going to talk about, and you're right. I think Mike, you mentioned it's like the biggest field there. I think it's also just as big, maybe even just a little smaller than the next field I'm going to ask Connor to talk about. It hasn't got a name yet. Connor's going to talk about the features on it. For the video that comes out this coming Monday, I called it Clever Girl. And watch this is the plug. Watch the video, and you'll know why we call it Clever Girl, although you might figure it out. Connor, would you like to explain the aspects of that field/map? Thomas is listening. I just had to say map because I know he loves it when I call a field a map.
Yeah. Well, this field, it's right beside the Bunker Hill. and essentially what it is, it's a literal field. It's rectangular in shape. It's all this really tall grass. I'm not good with measurements,
It's about
but
5.5 to 6 feet, I would
I
say.
was gonna say 6 feet. It's taller than everybody there. Like just a little shorter than I guess Mike. So a little taller. Sorry. But yeah. So what it is, it's this tall grass, but it's not just that. Is that essentially there's from each spawn. So one side of the rectangle to the other is that there's your line where you spawn in, and there's 3 paths that you can go from the spawn. These paths, they kind of loop around. They're not straight lines. There's bends and stuff, and they overlap. They cross over. So you don't have to go on the paths, but obviously you're not walking through the tall grass. You're not making noise when you're on the paths, but you're definitely more exposed than if you're concealed in the grass. So yeah, it's I guess that's a good little explanation. Little
Well, Connor,
intro.
what did you think of? We played one game on it, but what did you think of that one game playing on it? And Mike, get ready because you're getting that same question.
It was scary, but it was fun. So there's certain places where I'll play, like not to bash any other fields, but indoor places. It's not anything against the fields. It's like I get really anxious and I like my heart starts beating way too fast and I can't focus and it's like all I can hear in my head and I sometimes walk out. Here I was getting like those like the anxiety, but it was actually fun. Like I got a rush because you feel very claustrophobic, but you got to know that this thing I'm taking cover behind, it's not a wall. It's like I'll actually know if there's a guy coming from far away. So it's kind of like playing in a indoor field almost, except that you can shoot through all the walls. So imagine it's like Call of Duty essentially, right? Because if anything you see you can shoot through, but it's a matter of like if your shots are actually going to hit, right? Because as you're shooting, there's a chance the ball gets like cut by the grass, right? Or maybe it just flops down. So no, it was definitely a good kind of rush, but just the one game was enough for me for at least a little bit. I needed to calm down after it.
Mike, how about you? What was your impression of Clever Girl Field?
Well, he hit it. He hit the nail on the head on a lot of those points. I mean, it was just I I think when we first started, we decided to take one path each. Send one left, one right, and I ended up going down the middle, and it
Wait
was
a minute, wait a minute. I
terrifying
had the
because once
middle.
I got
I had the middle. That's why we had
did
such a
no,
shitty
you had
start.
the right.
I know. I'm joking. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a minute. So I got up a little bit, and then I kind of forgot how big the field actually was. So,
It's long.
and then I realized that I'm on this one-way path and I'm about to go around a corner. If someone's there, like it's game on, like boom. So, like Connor said, I was getting like that really anxious, really quick. And then knowing with lens color and stuff, seeing through the grass just a little bit that someone might see me from over here that I'm not even looking at. And that grass is not stopping those balls. So basically what I was thinking of is if I get shot at, I'm dropping to my stomach like immediately. Cause I think that's ultimately the only way I'm going to survive if someone knows exactly where I am and they're close enough. But it ended up, I actually heard because I don't know if it was the sound it was just really quiet out there in the field, but I actually ended up hearing them whispering, trying to coordinate a plan. So it kind of gave me the head up. My anxiety went down, and but oh wow, man, it was a really cool field, and like I mentioned, make a field with nothing in it besides paths is one of the coolest things, and I had an absolute blast on it. So yeah, what a great idea.
Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, no,
yeah.
and the talking you mentioned is a big thing. That reminds me, we didn't mention, but for that game, it was a 3v2.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. You mentioned that the obvious thing for you guys first time on the field was to put one guy per lane,
Mm-hmm.
and that's exactly what Michelangelo and I were thinking. It was me and him together. Is that they're probably going to put one guy each, and since we're just two, we're like, should we try to we leave one lane open and go one each, or should we stick together? And that's like the one thing we didn't think about right away, is that if we stick together and you guys are going one each, right, is we're gonna just be target just by communicating, right? So you don't I guess you do think about it, but just sound when there's no holes to like for it to bend around, is that you know exactly where somebody is when they're talking. And especially shooting too. You know exactly
Yeah.
where it's coming from. So it was an interesting aspect to have too.
When you shot, when you actually saw somebody, and thank God Connor had his white mask on so I could see him more often. When you saw somebody, you just got a glimpse of them and you fire a few shots, and just like Mike mentioned, even an old bugger like me, all of a sudden, okay, I'm done. Hit the ground. At least it's nice and cushy, all that grass there, because you know it's coming back. And there's that false sense of security once again. I mentioned that about being on the bunker in the last one, but you got all this grass, which is like a wall around you, but it stopped. The only thing it stops is you seeing the enemy. And I always feel sound, and you guys both mentioned it, is critical in paintball. On this one, it was taken to an absolute new level. And I'll say one thing, Connor, because Mike and Miranda, you, you'd see it on the video, but I have to talk about it because I want to promote and show, just emphasize the point here. Mike and Miranda were taken out basically on the same play. I saw Miranda go out. I didn't see Mike. I heard Connor tell Michelangelo, yeah, Mike's out, and I think Miranda is too. And then I backed up because had I not heard that, I would have stayed in what ended up being a really poor position. But it's just interesting how it plays. But yeah, we did a 3-on-2 on that one. Mike and I you were playing MagFed, I believe, Mike, for the whole day, right?
Yeah, I believe me and you were
Okay.
the mag fetters that day. Yeah.
Yeah, so don't feel bad for Connor and Michelangelo. They had the hoppers, but they're pretty disciplined with it, and it was a really good game. The video for that I made for coming out on Monday, whatever Monday is, whatever date it is, the 15th or something, is 33 minutes because I do the regular play that I show the game, and then I show just my footage, uncut, uninterrupted, with no music, and then I show Connor's to emphasize the sound and everything. And no, it's
Nice.
and when we mentioned the three lanes. I think you both mentioned that. I forget which one of you, but yeah, they don't really. It isn't just like a box. They kind of interweave and wind around, and you'd have to play
Some dead ends.
Yep, some dead ends. You'd have to play a lot of games on that field to actually figure out your upside down to right side up on it. That's for sure. And that was
Big time.
that was for me the biggest surprise and the most well, it was only positive with the field, but just wild. And I think that's probably the field that could handle the most players too. Like if we were to go in, if for some reason we had 16 of our guys show up, 8-on-8 on that would be. I'd probably sit and wait for the herd to be thinned out a bit, and Connor might do one of his suicide runs in there and see how it pans out. That might be one. No shields allowed, eh? No shields ever on that field. That takes away the good element of it.
Oh, that'd be fun. I'd actually get a melee kill for once.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we just played the one on there. It was very intense. Like we ammoed up after the 3 on Bunker Hill, and you take a little break, you water up, you get ready. We played there. It was such an intense single game. It's like, okay, we got new ammo. No, we're gonna go to a different field. I don't know if my heart can handle this one more game right now. So we moved on to the next field. And Mike, I'll let both you guys describe the fields. You did such a good job with the first two. Then, Mike, we went on one. I'm not sure if it's the official name, but we kind of called it Tires, although there were a couple of buildings too.
Yeah,
Do you want
he
to?
said it was his speedball field.
Yeah,
So
exactly,
speedball,
exactly.
I guess.
Mike, would you like to describe
Yeah.
it?
So sure. So yeah, he had, when he was explaining it to us, he was like, "Hey, I got a kind of a speedball esque field over here, not with the inflatables, but in a sense of angles and how you got to move, from spawn to cover, etc." And I was like, "Oh, that sounds cool." And of course, Michelangelo was like, "Ooh, I want to check that out." So when we got over there, it was, similar, well, not similar to tire balls, our tire balls at Warzone, but a lot of the same, tire chunks, 3 tires, 6 tires, whatever. There was some barrels, I believe, and some of the IBC plastic crates. And I believe just on the left side of each spawn was just one structure,
Yeah, each
one
side had
building
one
Yeah.
building.
on
Yeah,
the left side. Yeah, so a nice building, with a window in the front and good coverage, and just lots of good areas to hunker down and really stay hidden, but also have good angles on multiple parts of the field. I think it was designed pretty well. Some of the tires I couldn't fit behind. They were regular size tires, so maybe add a few more around it, or just that's the way it is, speedball, you don't have much room to hide or whatever. But overall, I had a lot of fun in it. I didn't last it didn't last long. I think we played 3 games on there.
yeah.
I begged for a third game because I got taken out immediately on the first 2. But really good field, really fun. Smaller, I think, compared to the other fields.
Yeah, yeah.
More compact. Reminds me of a little chunk of our Capital Combat, our local field that me and my wife go to. Kind of set up like that with the buildings and there's a little bit of everything in there. But yeah, hopefully I didn't steal all the thunder there.
That's okay.
I know.
That's okay.
I still got some ammo left to shoot.
There you go.
I it definitely seemed like the most like I don't know. Just from my opinion on it, I think this is the field that Tyler spent the most amount of time really thinking where stuff went. Is that every single piece of cover I went behind, it felt like there was like a next piece of cover in a reasonable distance that I could run to that was risky, but like it didn't feel, nothing felt like suicide to run to. But nothing ever felt like safe where I could just kind of like, well, if I like take a few steps crouch from this thing, I'm behind a next thing up. So it felt like a lot of risk, but also reward. And within that, also the field just felt like very uh, constricted and kind of claustrophobic, but also breathable at the same time. If that makes sense, like it felt tight with the action right and everybody being so close together, but it also felt like stuff was spaced out fair enough from one another that you weren't on top of each other. So no, I mean I liked it a lot. Any spot that I thought was kind of maybe too strong was balanced in a way that it had a con to it. Like I know on the one side there's a really big tire wall that forms like a U. So if you're in the center of it, you can't get shot from your left and right. But it is like the shortest piece of cover there. So it's waist high the entire time. So it's a good spot, right? You got your flanks covered. The enemy gets up on the left or the right wall. But you got to stay low the entire time. Unlike some of the, maybe thinner stuff, but that's tall. You're not going to get hit from the front if you can get your body behind that. But I mean, there's so much to like about it. It is my favorite field of the day.
Yeah, it does play very quickly. It does
Nice.
very, very fast. And Mike, you mentioned that the tires, maybe they should put another tire beside it. I think that was deliberate, that you got to, okay, I'm behind here, but I got to move. And Connor actually for the
Yeah.
very first game, I don't think Connor. It's actually like you said, it's not a very big. It's longer than it is wide because Connor did a run in for the first game and he ran and he ended up wiping our squad, but I didn't realize how short the field is because when you're sitting there, you see a lot of these little barriers everywhere. There's a lot going on, and it is like Mike. I think you said that it is very well, or Connor. I don't want to steal your thunder. It
Mhm.
is very well thought out because at one point,
Mhm.
I think it was the third game. I needed that third game too because I barely lasted longer than you in the first two. Um, I'm behind that mid area that Connor mentioned, the very short U-shaped thing. We're really great for my back, by the way. But anyway, so I'm there and I'm looking to my right, and I can't remember who was there. I'm not sure. Michael's on my left on my team. It might have been Miranda on the right, and I see the white tote there, and um, behind it is just this skinny stack of tires. I can't see it, so Mike's saying he's behind the tires. I see the shots coming out from behind the tote, the white tote, and it's like, man, there's no tires there. He says, man, he's behind the tires. I've never heard Michael actually raise his voice. No, he's behind the tires, you know. And it plays really quick. I like how they got the trees going through the tires, so the trees are getting bigger. I don't know why I like that, but as you're standing behind cover, you get one. I'm using this term a lot today. It's very deceptive. You got this sense of security. Well, I'm behind a tree. Well, the tree's an inch and a half thick, but yeah, very fast playing field. And for a guy who doesn't play fast fields well, I was like floundering in there, but a kind of good excitement to it. But I had a really good excitement on the clever girl, but that was a different one too. I didn't mention that, by the way. I had the same thing of when I was alone at one point against Connor and Michelangelo, and I had this fear, but it was a good fear. It's like I'm going to make these guys work for it. I didn't have that option in this field because I was like, this is not my field. But I could see definitely getting to like that and finding my little spots. And Connor, I couldn't agree more that I think he put his time and effort into planning this one out. And the other ones are fine. The other fields are all fine. But this one is, and maybe it's even a labor of love. I have the impression he plays speedball anyway. I have the impression he's a speedballer.
Mhm.
But no, a very good field. Yeah, we played 3 there. And the last field, which I'll let Connor describe, you've got a tough task to describe this one, Connor. It's easy and hard at the same time. And the name kind of says a lot about it. It's called Jungle.
So, once again, to bring up that word, you mentioned deceptive. It's not a jungle; it's a forest, but it does play like a jungle. That there's tall grass, medium-sized grass. There's bushes, lots of trees. There's those trees. I don't know the name of them, but they're like a cone, and so you can go under
Oh, they're
it.
pine
Then the
trees.
leaves,
Yeah.
yeah,
Pine
the
trees,
leaves shield you.
Yeah, the branches. Yeah.
Yeah, and so describe the shape of the map. Maybe it's like a thickened reverse, like an inverse L, I guess.
It. Yeah.
So one team starts at the top of it. So like here, then the other team, they don't start at the point, but they maybe start a little down here. And I guess maybe the map's more like this. Yes. Oh, it's kind of like a triangle, I guess. A right
For
angle
those
triangle.
listening to on Spotify, he did clarify
Yeah,
it is
I'm
a
drawing it.
triangle.
It's a right angle triangle. More I think about it.
Oh, even
Because I
better.
only
There
played
you
on the
go.
part that's the L for
Okay.
both rounds we
Right.
played. But yeah, it's kind of like you're walking past something or through something, and it's the next little environment in front of you. It's different. You're walking through the tall grass on one side, then immediately it's like, oh, you're in the trees. Then you look through the trees, and it's like, oh my god, they're shooting me through this bush. It is like a jungle that it's all these things in one compared to the unnamed fields that we played for the fourth game, the 2-on-3, the tall grass. This it's like a mix of everything you would find in the woods in the forest. and it's definitely a little wild with how it plays because it's so shrouded stuff. It's like it's chaotic, like a messy kind of chaotic, but it's fun.
Mike,
So
your
yeah.
impressions.
I was pretty impressed with it. It reminded me a lot of the first field they dropped us in Vermont. I just like it was so. We did a quick walkthrough just from spawn to spawn, and I'm always talking, so I wasn't paying attention to our surroundings. So that was when we were talking about it. That was the one that I was like, I had so much fun because I had no idea what was going on like the whole time. I had no idea where anybody could have been coming from or where anybody was. So that one was pretty chaotic. The cover was very random, just random, like a piece of steel here, and mostly it was, you had to use your environment, your trees, and stuff like that. Um, I hid behind a lot of trees, but I thought it was a pretty cool map. I had fun on it.
Well, there is on the one side of the field forest with a little path, and I'm going to admit it. At the start of the first game, Tyler pointed out. He goes, "Yeah, there's a path on the forest that goes all along the side of the field." And I knew everybody was playing in the middle, so I went in there to push some brush aside. It's going to be good for the video. And along the rope line, I actually got behind the enemy team and both times got behind Miranda and took her out. But I got behind her there both times. The second time I got past, like literally a lot past her. I had to backtrack to get her. And I sat there thinking wow, like if you're playing with 6 guys or 8 guys on this, like it can be a stalemate. I mean, you can really dig in and crawl and you won't know somebody is really close to you. And I kind of found it fascinating.
Mhm.
If it was a little bit, we only played 2 games and weren't very long, but if it was even a little bit bigger, I mean, I thought it was pretty cool. And I got to admit, when I first saw it, it's like, oh, okay, they just opened. This is a field in progress. It's just got a few things for now. He's building it, right? I don't expect the guy to make a perfect a field, a whole array of them his first year. But then when I played on it, it's like I like the feel of this. It's a really good, unique feel. And you mentioned there's not, there's a thing of steel here. There's just a plywood sheet. There's an old lawn tractor, but it's mostly nature. Connor mentioned under the pine tree. So the branches are down, but all the pine needles, the pine needles, when they go on the ground, they have I think it's an acidity to it. So things don't grow. So right directly underneath that tree is like a perfect circle. And it's like just really good cover and thick brush.
Mhm.
And it's almost, that when you play a big game, I always got to mention D-Day at every podcast. You get hit. I didn't see anybody who hit me all day, and I got hit a lot. That's a small field where you might not even know who hits you because it just comes out of nowhere. And can you say team? That's what I was terrified about the second time when I was creeping up on Miranda. Is like I'm gonna get team killed, and you want to go out and say friendly here. It's like I'm gonna give away my spot. So I think there was really good merit to that field. Now,
Yeah.
look, it's not going to be a long podcast, but I just want to ask you guys, what was your best impression? What was your best moment, most fun moment of the day? I'll say mine just to start off to give the example. It's when that game on the Clever Girl field where I realized I was alone against Connor and Michelangelo, and I just fired shots at Michelangelo, and I listened, and it's like, oh no, he's in. And instead of bracing for cover, I realized I'm compromised. I'm the only one left. And as I turned around, I slapped a new mag in as I'm running back towards my spawn. And then I turned around and I kind of alluded to a little earlier. And I said, no, 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 no. I'm not going to make this easy. And I felt that thing like, oh my God, I don't like this pressure. And it's like, but wait a minute. I do love this. And I went in. I thought like this is a blast. And what essentially was when you drive by, you would know it's a paintball field. You'd say it's just
Hmm.
a fallow field, you know. Mike, what was your like moment of the day or highlight of the day? You'd say.
I just thought it was pretty cool. The whole day was awesome because my thing being still on our kind of first full year paintball is just going to new fields and checking them out and doing exactly what we did that day. But to be a little more specific, if I had to choose, because I had so much fun on every single field, every game. We had a small day, small crew. It's hard not to. But I think when you were like, oh, why don't you and Miranda go up and defend, um, the hill and stuff. It's any time that me and my wife get to do something together is awesome. So when we got up there, it started actually pretty quick. So we didn't even really get to devise a plan. So we just did what we normally do and started communicating. And she got so excited when she took Mike out on the left, or Mike, whatever you call him, and then took you out.
Yep.
And so I'm like, holy shit, I don't even got to do anything. I'm just going to sit here and keep letting her know where you guys are and let her do all the work. And it was really cool. But, us only having one life, I got taken out. And unfortunately, I had to sit there and just watch all you guys come up and surround her and finally get her. But I think that was the coolest game for me just because, getting to do the team thing with my wife's always a highlight for my day.
Sir Connor.
I guess my big moment was in either the first or the second game. I forget which one it was. But it was attacking on the Bunker Hill map, and it was kind of just like a pretty epic experience, even though there's only 6 of us playing. I don't know. In my mind, I kind of play it differently than how it actually went, but it's running up with Michael cover to cover, and I like jump into one of the trenches. I'm like, Michael, like, where are you? Where are you? And I see he's walking back because he got headshotted. But in my mind, I like to think he was running towards me. But behind him, there's the train moving. There's
Oh
the
yeah,
field's
that's
right beside
true.
a train track, and so it was really cool. And after the game, I'm like, guys, that was so cool. And the train went by, and everybody's like, there was a train that went by because we heard them all day, but not when we were playing. And I think that was the one time the train actually went by as we were playing. But it was cool to just like look back and see it passing by as I'm in the trench. And I poked my head up, I think a few moments before or after, and somebody was shooting at the mound I was taking cover behind. And for that to be one of the first few games of the day, it's where you like lock in and get into like paintball mode. It was like this is like heavy duty. Like for just like a regular game day, this is like intense. So that was my favorite moment, my highlight.
I think that was the second
Nice.
game. I think that was the second game, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
I got a cool screenshot of you like on the mound looking over. So you just kind of see this mound on the right of the screen, and you see Connor's hands, and you see his hand on his marker, and you can tell he's leaning over, and you just see the top of the bunker, and really good feeling. I'm going to do that with all the videos I think from this day, as I'm going to have where I go back and forth between the cameras, but then at the end with no music, just this is Connor's view of the game, this is Andrew's back to back. So for those of you who, because it is a new field, not a lot of people gone there, it'll allow you to kind of immerse yourself. Kind of, sometimes when you do music and I talk over it and stuff, is I try to like, tell a story that you may not normally see. So maybe if you watch it with your own eyes and ears, hearing the raw sound and that really feel like you're in it. So look, it's a great field. We got to have a game day there. Bring oh
100%.
yes, same thing like Warzone and that. Bring bug spray because there are mosquitoes there. Where there's mosquitoes everywhere, especially this time of year. And yeah, I got badly bitten by mosquitoes there. But again, it happens at Warzone. I don't expect them to crop dust everything over there. Maybe we do that. We can hook up something with the drones and that. But and the only field, by the way, I think the only field there you could use smoke would be Bunker Hill. By the way.
Yeah, everywhere
Oh
else
man,
it's
that would
like
be
a
really
fire
cool.
hazard, right?
Yeah,
You'll catch
exactly.
something on fire.
Yeah, that was really a
That
great
would be
feel.
really cool with some smokes.
It would be. It would. You'd almost have to limit the smokes for the poor guy. It could be interesting if we do something more like I'd like a scenario where you have maybe 4 or 6 guys defending that bunker because you got the
Hmm.
fallen tree which has some barrels. You got a couple guys on top, and on the right side of Bunker Hill, the foot of it when you're defending, there's a lot of stuff to defend there. So I think you could have a lot of people on that map and the field and have a really great time. Okay,
I got a
so
question for you guys.
absolutely.
Just little random thing. Just I think we're winding down probably maybe, but just to go off topic a smidge.
Sure.
I think we're roughly maybe halfway through the season. I don't know. I play all year, but you guys are mainly, fall, summer, spring. So we're about halfway through, I'd say, the season, if I had to guess.
Get
I
there.
just want to know, events aside, because events just win D-Day, obviously. It's all we love and talk about. I just want to know, it's hard to just pick it out of your brain, but that's kind of why I wanted to do it. Like, just quick out of your mind, your most favorite outing so far this year. Starting with when we did the fall ball or whatever, or even the first winter one we did. Just what's been your favorite, what's stuck out for you the most this season? Just curious to see what you guys.
Yeah, let's include. I think we'll think of since Mike and Miranda joined the fold. I think that's probably a good one for
Yeah, absolutely, sure.
it. Geez, Connor did miss. I think the first two
Yeah,
or
I'm gonna
three
throw you
events
on the
this year
spot.
because of school. So maybe I'll let him think about that. For
Well,
me,
I got mine. If
oh,
you
do you
if
go right ahead?
unless
Go
you got
ahead.
yours ready.
No, I got
Okay.
more to pick through. So yeah, by all means, man.
All right. Well, specifically from this season, I guess my favorite outing specifically was forget what the series of videos is called for it, but it was when I brought most of my friends, and not just because of that. Well, it was when I brought Jonathan and Colton and Michael. Um, that's when we met Brant, who's an
Oh
absolute
yeah,
maniac
yeah, yeah.
that plays, and I think we had. That's when we did the 4 teams of 4. So we had a good group of 16. So definitely not a small group, but not too big where it's chaotic, where you play, on market
Mhm.
and it's like, this is like ridiculous how many people there are. So it was a good sized group. And I just remember all the games being really fun. I don't think we had like any issues all day of like, um, I think, well, when I say issues, I mean like both kinds. So I think the paint was fine, at least for me. I don't think I heard anybody complaining
Hmm.
about balls chopping and game modes weren't a problem, refs weren't a problem. It was a good day, from what I remember.
Okay, I hate to
Yeah.
be that guy, but he hit the nail on the head because we were going into D-Day weekend and we were all pumped for that. And
Hmm.
here we went and played just a normal day, and it was almost like, well, I just got to make sure everything works. And I brought the pistol to play that day because I wanted my TMC to be pristine for D-Day. And Brant with his buddies showed up too. We didn't know these guys, and everything meshed so well. Connor's right. We didn't have the paint wasn't chopping. The popsicle sticks drew fair teams. It was. I think it really helped us roll into D-Day with a really good feeling of camaraderie, which we normally do have. But that was a nice day too because I didn't mind the spring events and all that, but it still was a little cold and a little muddy. Last fall we had some great outings too. We had some really really good ones,
Hmm.
but that one I believe we played. We played I think 10 or 11 games the weekend before D-Day there, and there were some absolutely like stellar epic games there, like really really epic games.
Big time.
Yeah, that's when we did that four square Connor mentioned, 4 teams of 4. That was pretty wild. How about you,
What
Mike?
about you, Mike,
Hmm.
for the question? Yeah, I want to hear what you got.
I don't really. I was honestly, my mind goes back to that day too. I wasn't thinking about it the whole time because I was honestly like really listening to your guys' answers. Um, what I did think, it might not be my best day, best favorite, whatever, but it was a little bitter, like sweet, I guess. Because we played all winter, but we played with you guys a lot last fall or whatever, end of the summer, and then through the fall, and then just not so much through the winter. We played a little bit with Mikey, but just we didn't see you guys all winter, and then so coming back, I don't even remember what day it was. There was snow on the ground still, but when we all finally got back together for the first day,
Jersey Day, that's what we called it.
Jersey Day. There we go. That's the day. So yeah, even better. We got all the swag that day. It was like a little mini reunion. I was a little nervous for some reason, just getting back into it. I didn't like because I could just walk up on the porch now and just be like, "Hey guys," blah, blah, blah. It was just like it was just a weird, bittersweet feeling. But I think that was a cool day for us, just getting back with you guys and getting back in the groove of playing with you guys and stuff, because we had a winter, kind of a solo winter, and it was awesome just getting back into it. And to top it off, we got all the sweet swag that everyone's wearing all year. So
Actually, it's
that
funny.
was a highlight for me.
It's funny because this past, by the way, Lancaster Paintball, for the we will have links to it and everything, so you guys can look up the place and that. We don't forget about that. One thing I want to mention about Lancaster is, for years it was just Connor and I playing and going to places and people joining, and even when we had the facility in LaSalle, when it was LaSalle Paintball and Arnold's, it was just the two of us. Connor would bring friends, sometimes Michael and Colton would come. But to have just the six of us there, and I love running with our big squad. Don't get me wrong, but I hadn't had that whole thing of the small squads like that we had in Lancaster on Saturday. It was nice to have that again. I want to have all the guys there next time, but it was kind of good. And so you're mentioning, Mike, how you and Miranda went solo in winter. That's something I think you can probably enjoy and look forward to. But yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, so
Well, it's not our usual small squad you mentioned before in the past. Well, it was reminiscent of it, but I remember days of us going to LaSalle and one other person would show up and we'd go back home.
Yeah, there were a couple of days like that. You look at him, it's like, well, can I keep? Well, we remember, so you could keep the paint, but it's like, I guess I'll keep the paint, and yeah, but that's something. And then look, like 5 years later, we go to D-Day, and we have 18 regulars this year. Jesse and Matisse, they two valued members, have been with us for a long time. About halfway through the year last year, they stopped coming. Things happen. Life happens. You get different hobbies. I understand that. But going into D-Day, I didn't want to pressure everybody saying, hey, man, are you coming? Hey, man, you're coming. Yeah, I'm coming. I wasn't going to dog people for it. I reminded them a couple times. But I realized when we were there, it's like, wait a minute, all the regulars are here. Every single one of them was there. I thought, well, maybe so-and-so might show, but might not show because of this and that. Plus we had more in that. So that was really great to see. And yeah, I mean, it's, everybody, I like the diversity of the group. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole. I like the length of this show right now, but we've got a diverse, as a matter of fact, the language and everything's been good on this. I don't have to put an E rating to this podcast, because if we start going into the diversity of our group, we might have to have an X rating on it. All right, boys. So, by the way, we got the night event coming up this Saturday. I won't be there. So Connor, I guess if you want to go, I'll pack the gear up for you and all that, and you guys make the best of it. And I guess I'll wish you luck driving that windy road to the field at Warzone in the dark. You're not taking my vehicle. Take your own.
Yeah, I take my own. Okay. I mean, I don't know if it's big enough to handle those roads, so
it's easier to pull out of a ditch.
That giant stone in the road.
Yeah. I got to take a picture of that. You know what? We're gonna have to for the next.
I've been to every time.
I got to take a picture.
That just wouldn't fly in the States.
No, to jackhammer it out. But hey, who knows? Actually, and they I think 2 years ago they redid the asphalt there. They just went right around it. You think they'd chip it or something, but no.
Just a little bit.
See, once again, You're listening to the podcast. If you don't play with us, you don't know what the hell we're talking about. We're talking about a rock in the road. Literally. Like a rock in the road. Okay.
Rock of Death.
The rock of death. Not yet.
No casualties so far, thank God. But
Okay, now I'm terrified you said that, and I just told you you're driving alone in the dark on Saturday there.
I'm not like Courtney. I haven't gone to any accidents like her, so I'll be fine.
Okay.
Oh, shots fired.
No, she won't listen.
It's fired.
She won't listen to this.
Courtney, you suck at driving, just so you know. See, I can say what I want. She's not listening. I'm kidding. She's pretty good.
Watch for deer.
She has a car that helps her park, so I don't know how good she is, but oh well.
That's true. Thomas said watch for deer. Driving there at night, the deer come out, so yeah. Okay, thanks for listening. I'm gonna put this out right away. Maybe next week we'll put it up on YouTube or something like that. Thanks for listening. We got regular videos coming out. Take a look at us at Facebook. We're just a bunch of guys and one girl who just like to get together and throw paint around. We look good. Some of us play good, but we're not tryhards. Except maybe on D-Day, but we just go out and we have fun because that's what it's all about. And I really like going to this little field, and I hope we see it get bigger. And
thank you, Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler, that was
at Lancaster. It was awesome.
It was awesome, and
yeah, dude, thank you so much.
We will be back. We will bring friends.
Got it.
We will spread the word. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening. Go out there. No, that's the videos. It's what is it?
If we want to keep a rating, we can't say it.
Oh, don't be a jerk.
Oh, there it goes.
Don't be a jerk. I didn't finish the
don't
word.
Be a meanie.
Don't be a jerk. Don't be a meanie. You'll figure it out.
Be a weenie. Yeah.
Go have fun. Let's go grab an ice cream after the game, guys. You want to go for a milkshake? Actually, we went to Comic-Con the next day. That's even better.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, man, that'd be we could make a whole other episode about that.
We'll dress like zombies next year in our C1D gear. There we go. Too boring, too fringe. Thanks for listening. I want to thank Mike, Connor, Michelangelo's listening, Thomas is listening live. And for the 3 people that'll actually listen to this podcast, one of you will listen to the whole thing. And it's probably me because I got to.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Nick. That'll be Nick.
He's definitely listening. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Have a good one, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to like us, rate us, and tell everybody about us. Thanks for listening.